In 42 BCE, on the plains of Macedonia, two colossal Roman armies faced each other. This wasn't just another civil war. This was the final brutal showdown. On one side stood the avengers of Julius Caesar. On the other, the men who had murdered him. This was the Battle of Philippi, a conflict that would decide whether Rome would remain a republic or bow to an emperor. The story of how one act of revenge reshaped the world forever starts not on a battlefield, but in the heart of the Roman Senate. Just 2 years earlier, in 44 BCE, Julius Caesar, the most powerful man in Rome, was stabbed 23 times by a group of senators. Their leaders were Marcus Junius Brutus and Gaius Cassius Longinus, men who had once called Caesar a friend. They claimed they were defending the republic from a tyrant, saving it from a king, but their daggers didn't restore liberty. They plunged Rome into chaos. At Caesar's funeral, his loyal general Mark Antony delivered a masterful, fiery speech. He turned the Roman people against the assassins, igniting riots that swept through the city. Brutus and Cassius, once hailed as liberators, were forced to flee for their lives. In the power vacuum, a new alliance formed, the Second Triumvirate. It was a pact sealed in blood, uniting Caesar's ambitious young heir, Octavian, the seasoned general Mark Antony, and a powerful politician named Lepidus. Their stated mission was simple and terrifying: avenge Caesar's death. They unleashed a wave of proscriptions, systematically hunting down and executing their political enemies. Even the great orator Cicero fell, his head and hands displayed in the forum as a grim warning. With the West secured and their enemies eliminated, the triumvirate rallied Caesar's loyal veterans and turned their gaze east. The Roman world was now split in two. Brutus and Cassius had fled to the eastern provinces, Greece, Asia Minor, and Syria. There they used their authority to assemble a massive army, nearly 20 legions strong, and amassed the immense wealth of the East to fund their war. They were the self-proclaimed defenders of Republican liberty. Back in Italy, Antony and Octavian controlled the West. They didn't have the vast treasury of the Liberators, but they had something more powerful: Caesar's name. They commanded the loyalty of his legions and the political legitimacy that came with being his avengers. So they gathered their forces and began the long march east to confront the assassins. The stage was set for a collision of titans. The collision point was Philippi, a city in Macedonia that controlled the main road connecting the east and west. It was here the fate of Rome would be decided. Cassius, a cautious and brilliant strategist, recognized the strength of their position. He fortified 2 hills overlooking the plain, planning to wait out the triumvirs. He knew Antony and Octavian's supply lines were stretched thin, and if they could just hold their ground, starvation would defeat the enemy for them. But Mark Antony was no ordinary general. He was a master of improvisation and military engineering. Seeing Cassius's defensive line, Antony did the impossible. Under the cover of reeds, he secretly ordered his men to build a causeway through an impassable marsh to outflank Cassius' fortifications. It was a stroke of genius, a testament to Roman ingenuity. Meanwhile, tension was building in the Liberators' camp. Brutus, an idealist driven by a sense of honor, grew impatient. He argued for a decisive battle, fearing their soldiers' morale would crumble during a long stalemate. Cassius urged caution, insisting his defensive strategy was their best hope. This disagreement would prove fatal. As the armies prepared for battle, morale was swayed by propaganda and superstition. Both sides reported seeing visions and omens. The most haunting was the specter of Caesar himself, said to have appeared to Brutus, foretelling his doom. On October 3rd, 42 BCE, the first battle began. Pressured by his officers, Brutus launched an aggressive assault on Octavian's camp. The attack was a stunning success. His legions smashed through the defenses, overran the camp, and came close to capturing or killing Octavian. who had reportedly been warned in a dream to leave his tent. But on the other side of the battlefield, a different story was unfolding. Antony's forces had successfully used their new causeway to storm Cassius's camp. From his hilltop position, Cassius saw dust and chaos. He saw his own camp being overrun. In the confusion, he spotted a group of horsemen riding towards him, believing they were the enemy and that Brutus had been defeated. He lost all hope. He turned to his servant and ordered him to deliver a final, fatal blow. In a tragic twist of irony, the horsemen were messengers from Brutus, coming to report his victory. Cassius had died because of a misunderstanding. Antony's tactical brilliance had not only broken Cassius' line, but had also shattered the Liberators' command. In the days that followed, Brutus mourned his friend, whom he called the last of the Romans. He took full command of their combined armies, a force of nearly 80,000 men. He was still in a strong position, but the psychological blow of Cassius's death was immense. Morale among the triumvir's troops soared. Legend says that on the eve of the final battle, Caesar's ghost appeared to Brutus one last time, simply saying, "I will see you at Philippi." Fate was closing in. 3 weeks later, on October 23rd, the armies clashed again. Brutus's soldiers fought with desperate courage, but they were outmaneuvered. Antony's superior generalship and Octavian's relentless pressure proved too much. The Republican lines buckled and then broke. Surrounded and defeated, Brutus retreated to a nearby hill with his last few loyal companions. Seeing that all was lost, he knew his fight was over. He had fought to preserve Rome's freedom, but now only death or capture awaited. True to his stoic beliefs, he took his own life. When Antony found Brutus's body, he showed a moment of profound respect for his fallen enemy. He covered the body with his own expensive purple cloak, acknowledging the honor with which Brutus had lived and died. With the deaths of Brutus and Cassius, the last champions of the Roman Republic were gone. There was no one left to oppose Caesar's heirs. Antony and Octavian were victorious, the undisputed masters of the Roman world. They divided the empire between them, sealing the fate of the Republic. The ideals of liberty and self-governance, which had defined Rome for nearly 500 years, died on the battlefield of Philippi. Caesar's revenge was complete, and it paved the way for the age of emperors. Of course, the peace between Antony and Octavian wouldn't last. Their rivalry would soon spark another civil war, a final power struggle that would end with Octavian's victory and his transformation into Augustus, Rome's first emperor. Philippi stands as the true turning point. It's a powerful lesson in the irony of history. The men who killed Caesar to save the Republic ultimately caused its destruction. Their actions unleashed a cycle of vengeance that consumed them and the world they sought to protect. From the ashes of Philippi, a new order arose, the Roman Empire, an autocratic state born from one man's assassination and another's revenge. It's a timeless reminder that power seized in blood rarely returns to the hands of the free. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this journey into Roman history as fascinating as I did, please hit that like button and subscribe for more stories that shaped our world. See you next time.